I mean this in the nicest way possible. Leave a fucking legacy. This is I Mean This in the Nicest Way Possible, and I'm your host, Richard Armand Mills. Let's get something straight right away. When I say legacy, I'm not talking about kids. I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about fame, followers, clout, or whether your name ends up on something shiny. Legacy is not what you own. Legacy is what remains. Legacy is how people feel after knowing you. It's what shifts because you were present. It's the emotional residue you leave behind when you exit a room, a relationship, or even a chapter. We're living in a moment where everyone is drowning in crisis cycles. Bad news, moral outrage, borrowed anxiety about problems we were never meant to personally solve. People are exhausted, reactive, numb, and overstimulated. And in the middle of all of that noise, there's a quieter question that actually matters. What are you doing where you stand? Not online, not theoretically, not someday. Right here, in your actual life. I've always believed that immortality isn't cryogenics. Immortality is impact. You don't live forever because your body doesn't decay. You live forever because pieces of you keep showing up in other people. In the confidence you help someone build. In the habits you modeled without preaching. In the standards you normalized just by how you lived. In the rooms that felt safer, calmer, and more honest because you were in them. People don't remember every word you say. They remember how safe they felt. They remember whether you showed up consistently. They remember whether being around you made them feel more like themselves or less. That's legacy. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Everyone leaves one. The question isn't if you leave a legacy. The question is whether you're leaving it intentionally or accidentally. Whether you're building something that expands people or something that drains them. This season has been about expansion. Out of fear, out of noise, out of self-abandonment. And now we're at the natural endpoint of all of it. Because once you learn how to care for yourself, speak up for yourself, protect your health, choose joy, build community, and give back, the only question left is this. What are you going to leave behind when you do? At a psychological level, humans are wired to want their lives to matter. Not just to be remembered, but to mean something. Research consistently shows that people experience deeper life satisfaction when they feel their actions contribute to something larger than themselves, rather than when they chase recognition alone. Meaning, not memory, is what stabilizes identity over time, according to Psychology Today, which frames legacy as a need for coherence, knowing that your life made sense and mattered in context, not just in hindsight. This is where legacy gets misunderstood. Legacy is not about being recalled at a funeral. It's about whether your values and behaviors lined up while you were alive. That's why legacy is best understood as coherence plus contribution. Coherence is living in alignment with what you claim to value. Contribution is letting that alignment affect other people in tangible ways. And meaning doesn't come from grand gestures. It's built through repetition. Better Up emphasizes that lasting impact is created through consistent behaviors. How you show up daily. How you treat people when no one is watching. How reliable you are over time. Small, repeated actions carry more psychological weight than sporadic moments of heroism. Legacy isn't a highlight reel. It's a pattern. Modern culture quietly trains people to confuse being seen with being impactful. The attention economy rewards visibility, speed, and reaction, not depth or consistency. According to the Good Life Project, this creates a distorted feedback loop where people start measuring meaning by response instead of resonance. Likes, praise, and applause become stand-ins for purpose, even though they're fleeting and externally controlled. This is where legacy gets diluted. Recognition is loud, immediate, and often short-lived. Legacy is slower and usually invisible in real time. Being seen means people notice you. Being felt means people are changed because you were there. One registers on a screen, the other settles into someone's nervous system, habits, or sense of self. Forbes has warned that chasing recognition can actually weaken long-term influence because performance replaces substance. When energy is spent curating perception, less energy is available for sustained contribution. Applause becomes the goal instead of impact. And applause has a very short memory. Influence isn't who claps for you. It's who grows because of you. People don't remember your arguments. They don't remember most of what you said. And they rarely remember what you won. What they remember is how it felt to be in your presence. Psychology Today notes that emotional memory outlasts factual memory, meaning people retain the feeling of an interaction long after the details fade. Safety, warmth, consistency, and respect leave deeper grooves than any single conversation ever could. BetterUp frames legacy as a relational phenomenon, not a reputational one. Impact isn't built through intensity or charisma. It's built through repeated emotional signals that tell people, you matter here. Over time, those signals become identity shaping for the people around you. They influence how safe someone feels being themselves, how confident they are taking risks, and how they show up for others. You are remembered less for what you claimed and more for what people felt able to be around you. Legacy isn't something that activates at the end of life. It's something that's practiced daily, often quietly, through the smallest decisions. Honesty practiced daily builds trust. Accountability practiced daily builds safety. Generosity practiced daily builds connection. Boundaries practiced daily build respect. None of these behaviors are flashy, but together they create a stable emotional ecosystem around you. Over time, people don't just experience your values, they internalize them. The Good Life Project emphasizes that meaning is constructed through repetition and alignment. When actions consistently match values, life feels coherent. Not just to the person living it, but to everyone in their orbit. That coherence becomes instructive. It shows others what's possible without needing to teach, preach, or perform. Legacy isn't a future project. It's a present practice. And the life you're living right now is already teaching people what to expect from you. And you can actually see this in someone like Dolly Parton. Yes, she's incredibly successful. But when people talk about her legacy, they rarely start with the chart positions or the money. They talk about her generosity. They talk about the literacy program she created. They talk about how she treats people. The achievement got her attention, but the impact is what's going to outlive her. And that's the point. Legacy isn't what you accumulate. It's what continues because you were here. This season didn't start with legacy as the goal. It started with survival, with honesty, with asking better questions about how to live without abandoning yourself or the people around you. But step by step, every episode quietly built towards this moment. It began with being a better friend, not performatively kind, not endlessly available, but emotionally responsible, safe, consistent. Because legacy doesn't begin with strangers. It begins with the people who know you well enough to be disappointed by you. The way you show up in relationships becomes the first place your impact is felt. Then came speaking up for yourself. Because silence doesn't create peace. It creates erosion. You can't leave a meaningful imprint if you disappear every time something matters. Legacy requires voice, boundaries, the willingness to be seen clearly, even when it costs comfort. Not giving up on yourself followed. And that wasn't motivational fluff. That was about staying alive long enough to matter. About choosing self-preservation as an act of responsibility, not selfishness. Survival is the foundation of legacy. You can't pour into the world if you're constantly abandoning yourself just to make it through. Being the black sheep, reframe difference as service. When you choose courage over conformity, someone else learns they're allowed to live honestly too. That kind of modeling doesn't trend. It transfers. Quietly. Permanently. Then came tuning out the noise. The recognition that constant outrage, comparison, and reaction leave no room for intention. Legacy requires clarity. You can't build something lasting while being pulled in every direction by voices that don't know you. Curating your environment took that inward, because standards are contagious. The way you care for your space teaches others what you believe you deserve. You pass down expectations before you ever pass down advice. When this season moved into health, it wasn't about optimization. It was about stewardship. A body that's constantly depleted can't sustain impact. Caring for yourself became a way of staying available, not just for work, but for life. Getting out of the city expanded the lens. Perspective doesn't just change how you see the world, it changes how you show up in it. Exposure softens ego. It deepens empathy. It reminds you that your way is not the only way. And that awareness shapes better humans. Having a hobby, reclaim joy as participation, not productivity, not performance. Joy practiced in private becomes generosity in public. People feel it when someone is engaged with life instead of merely consuming it. Then came delusional confidence. Belief paired with action. Not ego, not fantasy, but the courage to move before permission arrives. Someone else believes because you did. Confidence, when grounded, creates permission slips for other people to try. And finally, giving back shifted the focus outward, from accumulation to circulation, from consumption to contribution. Legacy stopped being theoretical and became behavioral. When you give time, energy, and care, it leaves residuals. It changes rooms and even changes people. Seen together, this season wasn't about fixing yourself. It was about becoming someone whose presence does something. Someone who builds trust. Someone who participates. Someone who leaves places better than they found them. Emotionally, relationally, communally. All of this wasn't self-help. It was legacy training. Legacy gets confusing when success gets loud. We're taught to measure impact by visibility, by numbers, by reach, by whether strangers approve of us quickly and often. But none of that actually tells the truth about the mark you leave. Real legacy shows up in quieter places. It shows up in consistency, not intensity. Not bursts of greatness followed by disappearance, but the steady way you show up again and again. The way people can rely on you without bracing for mood swings, performative gestures, or disappearing acts. It shows up in integrity, in doing the right thing, even when it doesn't benefit you immediately, in choosing honesty over convenience, accountability over image. It shows up in emotional availability, not fixing, not saving, just being present, letting people be seen without rushing them past their feelings. And it shows up in service without spectacle, helping without announcing it, giving without needing credit, showing up without documenting the proof. These markers don't show up overnight. They compound. People trust you with their honesty, with their vulnerability, with their time. They don't feel the need to armor up around you or over-explain themselves. People grow around you, not because you push them or fix them, but because your presence makes growth feel possible. They take healthier risks. They speak more clearly. They stop shrinking. And maybe the most important marker of all, people feel more themselves after knowing you. Not more like you, more like them. They feel less apologetic about who they are, less confused about what they want, less afraid of being seen. That kind of impact doesn't come from advice. It comes from permission, from modeling what it looks like to live honestly, imperfectly, and with self-respect. That's legacy in motion. Not something you leave behind someday, but something you create every time you choose integrity over performance, presence over ego, and care over convenience. Now that brings me to our final challenge of the season, the Quiet Imprint Challenge. This isn't about doing something impressive. It's about doing something intentional. For this challenge, take a moment to step out of performance mode and step into impact mode. First, choose one relationship or environment where you show up regularly. A friend, a partner, a coworker, a family member, a room you're always in, a space you occupy often. Now ask yourself one honest question. How do people usually feel after interacting with me here? Not how you hope they feel, how they actually feel. Then, choose one legacy behavior you want to practice consistently in that space. Not a grand gesture, a repeatable pattern. Maybe it looks like being fully present instead of half listening. Maybe it's doing what you said you would rather than saying yes to everything and meaning none of it. Maybe it's offering encouragement before anyone asks for it. Maybe it's listening to understand, not to correct or rescue. Maybe it's holding clear boundaries without letting resentment do the talking. Or maybe it's choosing kindness in moments where disappearing would be easier. Next, practice that behavior on purpose. Not once, not when it's convenient, but repeatedly. Let it become part of how you show up. And here's the most important part. Don't announce it. Don't brand it. Don't narrate it. Legacy work doesn't need witnesses. It needs consistency. If you do this long enough, something subtle will shift. The energy in the room changes. The tone of the relationship softens. People respond differently, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. That's how legacy is built. Quietly, daily, by becoming someone whose presence makes life feel just a little more human. The world doesn't need more commentary. It's drowning in commentary. Opinions stacked on opinions, reactions layered on reactions. Everyone narrating what's wrong, what should change, what someone else ought to be doing differently. Noise is cheap. Takes are everywhere. What's rare is participation. Legacy doesn't come from having the best analysis of the problem. It comes from being the kind of person who shows up anyway. The kind of person who steadies a room instead of escalating it. The kind of person who chooses action where others choose distance. The kind of person who doesn't just see what's broken, but quietly contributes to a solution. A life that leaves a legacy isn't obsessed with being right. It's committed to being responsible. Responsible with words. Responsible with energy. Responsible with presence. It understands that influence isn't measured by reach, but by residual effort. Here's the arc this season has been building toward. Self-respect becomes self-trust. Self-trust becomes self-care. Self-care enables self-expression. Self-expression opens the door to contribution. And contribution becomes impact. Legacy isn't a separate chapter. It's the through line. This season wasn't about becoming someone new. It was about becoming more yourself and letting that version of you take up space responsibly, with care, with intention, with contribution. This is the bridge forward. Not into a new season yet, but into a different way of moving through the world. The next chapter isn't about doing more. It's about doing what already matters, on purpose. It's about participation instead of performance, presence instead of projection. It's about asking one quiet, clarifying question and letting it guide the way you live. What do you want to leave behind when you stop performing and start participating? Because participation changes the texture of a life. It slows you down enough to notice who's actually in front of you. It roots you in your values instead of your image. It turns moments into meaning, not because they're dramatic, but because they're honest. And when all the noise fades, when the headlines move on, when the metrics stop updating, when the performance ends, what remains is impact. The people who felt safer because you existed. The confidence that grew because you believed first. The standard that quietly shifted because you refused to live smaller than your values. That's what lasts. So carry that forward. Live in a way that leaves rooms better than you found them. Live in a way that makes people feel more themselves, not less. Live in a way that doesn't just consume the world, but adds to it. That's the legacy. Not someday, now. Because the kindest thing you can do is be real. I'm Ram, and thanks for getting real with me this season. You just finished listening to Season 2 of I Mean This in the Nicest Way Possible, written and produced by Richard Armand Mills.